High Court, District Court, Magistrates Court, Special Courts and Tribunals. The Sino-British Joint Declaration is a treaty signed between the United Kingdom and China on Hong Kong under Chinese sovereignty. Signed on 19 December 1984 in Beijing. The declaration describes the sovereign and administrative arrangement of Hong Kong after 1 July 1997, when the lease of the new territories was set to expire according to the Convention for the Extension of Hong Kong Territory. The treaty was signed by Chinese Premier Zhao Ziyang and UK Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher on behalf of their governments. It came into force when the instruments of ratification were exchanged on 27 May 1985 and was registered by the Chinese and British governments at the United Nations on 12 June 1985. In the joint declaration, the Chinese government stated that it would resume the exercise of its sovereignty over Hong Kong from 1 July 1997, and the British government declared that it would hand over Hong Kong to China on 1 July 1997. The Chinese government also declared its basic policies regarding Hong Kong in the document. In accordance with the one country, two systems principle agreed between the UK and China, the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region would not practice the socialist system in mainland China, and Hong Kong's existing capitalist system and way of life would be unchanged for 50 years until 2047. The joint declaration requires these basic policies to be written in the Hong Kong Basic Law. Whether the declaration has practical effect after the transfer of sovereignty of Hong Kong is disputed by China, which said it is a historical document that no longer had any practical significance, while the UK said that it is a legally valid treaty to which it was committed to upholding. The background of the Sino-British Joint Declaration was the pending expiration of the lease of the new territories on 1 July 1997. The lease was negotiated between the UK and the Guangxu Emperor of China, and was for a period of 99 years starting from 1 July 1898 under the Second Convention of Peking. At the time of the lease signing, Hong Kong Island had already been ceded to the UK in perpetuity under the Treaty of Nanjing in 1842. After the First Opium War, and the southern part of the Kowloon Peninsula as well as the Stonecutters Island had also been ceded to the UK in perpetuity under the Convention of Beijing in 1860 after the Second Opium War. The prospect of Hong Kong's return to Chinese rule, by negotiation or by force, had been a concern throughout British rule. These concerns briefly subsided after 1967 as mainland China was thrown into disarray with the Cultural Revolution, while the corresponding Hong Kong 1967 leftist riots resulted in a loss of native Hong Kong support for returning to PRC rule, and brought international sympathy to the side of the British colonial government. By 1979, China had restored its political order and became more assertive in neighboring affairs, notably intervening in Vietnam in 1979. Throughout the early 1980s, the territory and its business community grew concerned about the future of Hong Kong. These concerns, regarding the status of property rights and contracts, were spurred by political uncertainty surrounding the scheduled reversion of the new territories to the PRC. In March 1979, the governor of Hong Kong, Murray MacLehose, visited Beijing. During this visit, informal talks about the future of Hong Kong began. Upon his return, MacLehose attempted to allay investors' worries about the scheduled reversion, but reiterated that the PRC asserted its intention to regain sovereignty over Hong Kong. The first formal negotiations began with Chairman Deng Xiaoping of the Central Military Commission. During the visit of the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Margaret Thatcher, to China in September 1982. During the following discussions, where the Governor of Hong Kong took part in every round of formal talks as a member of the British delegation, it became clear that the continuation of British administration after 1997 would not be acceptable to China in any form. The Chinese government has consistently taken the view that the whole of Hong Kong should be Chinese territory, due to them being acquired through the inequality of historical treaties. As a result, the two sides discussed possible measures besides continued British administration, and came up with the concept of Hong Kong as a special administration region of the PRC. In April 1984, The two sides concluded the initial discussion of these matters, and arranged that Hong Kong would retain a high degree of autonomy under Chinese sovereignty with the preservation of the maintained lifestyle in Hong Kong. By the 18th of September 1984, both sides had approved the English and Chinese texts of the documents and the associated exchange of memoranda. The signing of the joint declaration caused some controversy in Britain because UK's Conservative